Hey witches, I'm back. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the video about Hecate's descent. Okay, what is Hecate's descent? Hekate descends every 2,500 years. She descends to the underworld. You guys need to think about this in terms of these gods and their movements, okay? The movement of the gods is different from the movement of you and I, because like one day to us, and break that down, what really is one day to a human? Okay, well, first of all, you have to think about we're on the earth and it's turning. And that's the only reason we have a day and night, is because we are on the earth and it's turning. So our day that only exists because we're on the earth that's turning is 24 hours. Okay, so what would be a day to a god? Well, where does the god live? What is the god living on or living at? How does time pass there? And for them, you have to consider these things. Some of these gods don't live on earth, y'all. Hekate does not live on earth. Y'all, there's so much I need to catch y'all up on, but just to keep it to the topic of this video, okay, Hecate's descent. Hekate descends every 2,500 years, okay? Y'all look up the Sumerian, Babylonian myth of the descent of Inanna or Ishtar. You can look it up by either of those names. I'm not sure which one is the Sumerian and Babylonian, but irregardless, it's the same story. And y'all look at that myth and read that story about the goddess Inanna and how she goes down to the underworld. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know what? I think I have this story right here bookmarked. Yeah. I'm just going to read it for y'all in this video. Alright, so it says, of the sleep of Ishtar. Now, this is like in some... It's in a language format that's different from how you and I talk. So, imagine it as like a great epic poem or something. Yet Ishtar, queen of heaven, bright light of nights, mistress of the gods, set her mind to that direction. From above, she set her mind to below. She set her mind from the heavens, she set forth to the abyss. Out of the gates of the living, to enter the gates of death. Out of the lands we know, into the lands we know not. To the land of no return, to the land of Queen Ereshkigal. Ishtar, queen of heavens, she set her mind. Ishtar, daughter of sin, she set forth. To the black earth, the land of Kutha, she set forth. To the house of no return, she set her foot. Upon the road whence none return, she set her foot. To the cave, forever unlit, where bowls of clay are heaped upon the altar, where bowls of dust are the food, of residents clothed only in wings. To Apsu Ishtar set forth, where sleeps the dead Cthulhu, Ishtar set forth. The watcher stood fast, the watcher Ningazida stood fast, and Ishtar spoke unto him. Ningazida, serpent of the deep. Ningazida, horned serpent of the deep. Ningazida, plumed serpent of the deep. Open. Open the door that I may enter. Ningazida, spirit of the deep, watcher of the gate, remember. In the name of our father before the flight, Enki, Lord and Master of magicians, open the door that I may enter. Open lest I attack the door, lest I break apart its bars. lest I attack the barrier, lest I take its walls by force. Open the door, open wide the gate, lest I cause the dead to rise. I will raise up the dead, I will cause the dead to rise and devour the living. Open the door, lest I cause the dead to outnumber the living. Ningazida, spirit of the deep, watcher of the gate, open. Ningazida, the great serpent, coiled back on itself and answered Ishtar. Lady, queen among the gods, I go before my mistress Ereshkigal. Before the queen of death I will summon thee. And Ningazida, horned serpent, approached the lady Ereshkigal and said, Behold, Ishtar, thy sister, queen among the gods, stands before the gate. Daughter of sin, mistress of Enki, she waits. And Ereshkigal was pale with fear. The dark waters stirred. Go, watcher of the gate. Go, Ningazida, watcher of the gate. Open the door to Ishtar, and treat her as it is written in the ancient covenant. And Ningazida loosed the bolt from the hatch, and darkness fell upon Ishtar. The dark waters rose and carried the goddess of light to the realms of the night, and the serpent spoke. Enter. Queen of heaven, of the great above, that Kur may rejoice, that Kutha may give praise, that Rutu may smile. Enter, that Cthulhu may be pleased at thy presence. And Ishtar entered. And there are 7 gates and 7 decrees. At the first gate, Ningazida removed the crown. The great crown of her head he took away, and Ishtar asked, Why, serpent, hast thou removed my first jewel? And the serpent answered, Thus it is, the covenant of old, set down before time, the rules of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the first gate. At the second gate, Ningazida removed the wand of lapis lazuli he took away, and Ishtar asked, Why, Neti, hast thou removed my second jewel? And Neti answered, Thus it is, the covenant of old set down before time, the decrees of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the second gate. At the third gate, Ningazida removed the jewels. The jewels around her neck he took away, and Ishtar asked, Why, gatekeeper, hast thou removed my third jewel? And the gatekeeper answered, Thus it is, the covenant of old, set down before time, the decrees of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the third gate. At the fourth gate, Ningazida removed the jewels on her breast he took away, and Ishtar asked, Why, guardian of the outer, hast thou removed my fourth jewel? And the guardian answered, Thus it is, the covenant of old, set down before time, the rules of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the fourth gate. At the fifth gate, Ningazida removed the belt of jewels around her hips he took away, and Ishtar asked, Why, watcher of the forbidden entrance, hast thou removed my fifth jewel? And the watcher answered, Thus it is, the covenant of old, set down before time, the rules of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the fifth gate. At the sixth gate, Ningazida removed the jewels around her wrists, and the jewels around her ankles he took away. And Ishtar answered, Why, Ninkagal, hast thou removed my sixth jewel? And Ninkagal answered, Thus it is, the ancient covenant, set down before time, the decrees of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the sixth gate. At the seventh gate, Ningazida removed the jeweled robes of Ishtar he took away. Ishtar, without protection, without safety. Ishtar, without talisman or amulet, asked, Why, messenger of the ancient ones, hast thou removed my seventh jewel? And the messenger of the ancient ones replied, Thus it is, the covenant of old, set down before time, the rules of the Lady of Kutu. Enter the seventh gate, and behold the netherworld. Ishtar had descended to the land of Kur. To the depths of Kutha she went down, having lost her 7 talismans of the upper worlds, having lost her 7 powers of the land of the living, without food of life or water of life. She appeared before Ereshkigal, mistress of death. Ereshkigal screamed at her presence. Ishtar raised up her arm. Ereshkigal summoned Namtar, the magician Namtar, saying these words. She spoke to him, Go, imprison her, bind her in darkness, Claim her in the sea below the seas. Release against her the 7 Anunnaki. Release against her the 60 demons. Against her eyes the demons of the eyes. Against her sides the demons of the sides. Against her heart the demons of the heart. Against her feet the demons of the feet. Against her head the demons of the head. Against her entire body the demons of Ker. And the demons tore at her from every side. And the Anunnaki, dread judges, 7 lords of the underworld, drew around her. Faceless gods of Apsu, they stared, fixed her with the eye of death. With the glance of death they killed her, and hung her like a corpse from a stake. The 60 demons, tearing her limbs from her sides, her eyes from her head, her ears from her skull. Eres Kigal rejoiced. Blind Azak Thoth rejoiced. Iaksakak rejoiced. Ishnigarab rejoiced. Cthulhu rejoiced. The Maskim gave praise to the Queen of Death. The Gijin gave praise to Eres Kigal, Queen of Death. And the Elder Ones were rent with fear. Alright, y'all. It's a little bit longer. Our father Enki, Lord of Magic, receiving word of Ninshibur, Ishtar's servant Ninshibur, he hears of Ishtar's sleep and the house of death. He hears how Ganzir has been opened, how the face of the abyss opened wide its mouth and swallowed the Queen of Heaven, Queen of the rising of the sun. And Enki summoned forth clay, and Enki summoned forth wind. And from the clay and from the wind Enki fashioned 2 elementals. He fashioned the Kaguru, spirit of the earth. He fashioned the Kalaturu, spirit of the seas. To the Kagaru he gave the food of life. To the Kalaturu he gave the water of life. And to these images he spoke aloud. Arise, Kagaru, spirit of the earth. Arise, Kalataru, spirit of the seas. Arise and set thy feet to the gate Ganzir, to the gate of the underworld, the land of no return. Set thine eyes, the 7 gates shall open before thee. No spell shall keep thee out, for my number is upon you. Take the bag of the food of life. Take the bag of the water of life. And Eresh Kigal shall not harm you. Eresh Kigal shall not raise her arm against you. Eresh Kigal shall not have power over you. Find the corpse of Inanna. Find the corpse of Ishtar, our queen. And sprinkle the food of life 60 times. And sprinkle the water of life 60 times. 60 times the food of life and the water of life sprinkle upon her body, and truly Ishtar will rise. With giant wings and scales like serpents, the 2 elementals flew to the gate, invisible. Ningazita saw them not. Invisible, they passed the 7 watchers. With haste they entered the palace of death, and they beheld several terrible sights. The demons of all the abyss lay there, dead but dreaming. They clung to the walls of the house of death, faceless and terrible. The Anunnaki stared out, blind and mad as Thoth reared up. The eye on the throne opened. The dark waters stirred. The gates of Lapis Lazuli glistened in the darkness. Unseen monsters, spawned at the dawn of ages, spawned in the battle of Marduk and Tiamat, spawned by Huber, with the sign of Huber, led by Kingu. With haste they fled through the palace of death, stopping only at the corpse of Ishtar, the beautiful queen, mistress of the gods, lady of all the harlots of Ur, bright shining one of the heavens, beloved of Enki, lay hung and bleeding from 1,000 fatal wounds. Eresh Kigal, sensing their presence, cried out. Kagaru, armed with fire, looked upon the queen of corpses with a ray of fire. Kalaturu, armed with flame, looked upon the queen of the graves with the rays of flame, and Eresh Kigal, mighty in Kutha, turned her face. Upon the corpse of Inanna, 60 times they sprinkled the water of life of Enki. Upon the corpse of Ishtar, 60 times they sprinkled the food of life of Enki. Upon the corpse, hung from a stake, they directed the spirit of life. Inanna arose. The dark waters trembled and roiled. Azak Thoth screamed upon his throne. Cthulhu lurched forth from his sleep. Ishnigarab fled the place of death. Iaxakak trembled in fear and hate. The Anunnaki fled their thrones. The eye upon the throne took flight. Ereshkigal roared and summoned Namtar. The magician Namtar she called, but not for pursuit, but for protection. Inanna ascended from the underworld. With the winged elementals she fled the gates of Ganzir and Neti. She fled, and verily the dead fled ahead of her. When through the first gate they fled, Ishtar took back her jeweled robes. When through the second gate they fled, Ishtar took back her jeweled bracelets. When through the third gate they fled, Ishtar took back her jeweled belt. When through the fourth gate they fled, Ishtar took back her jeweled necklace. When through the fifth gate they fled, Ishtar took back her belt of jewels. When through the sixth gate they fled, Ishtar took back her wand of lapis. When through the seventh gate they fled, Ishtar took back her jeweled crown. And the demons rose, and spirits of the dead, and went with her out of the gates, looking neither right nor left, walking to front and behind. They went with Ishtar from the gate of Ganzir. Out of the netherworld they accompanied her, and Ereshkigal, scorned queen of the abyss, wherein all are drowned, pronounced a curse, solemn and powerful, against the queen of the rising of the sun, and Namtar gave it form. When the lover of Ishtar, beloved of the queen of heaven, goes down before me, goes through the gates of Ganzir, to the house of death, when with him the wailing people come, the weeping woman and the wailing man, when Dumuzi is slain and buried, may the dead rise and smell the incense. Alright, so there we have it, y'all. That's the whole story. This is just one version of it from this book, y'all, the Necronomicon. This is the Simon Necronomicon. I don't know if y'all had read that, but it has some of these myths in it, and all that. So basically I wanted to read that myth to you guys to kind of explain what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Hecate's descent. What I'm talking about is the Queen of Heaven, Hekate. To the Babylonians, she was Ishtar or Inanna, whatever. But what I'm talking about is the Queen of Heaven, the cosmic soul, going into this other realm, this underworld realm, this realm of death, where whereas normally this cosmic soul, its consciousness, its presence is in the physical realm with the living souls. It takes this descent. Hekate takes this descent every 2,500 years. And I know you guys want to know why and all that. And I'm just going to have to tell y'all how Hekate told me all these different things. There's really a lot to it, so I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. Or I might cut it short and do this in segments. I'm not sure yet. I'm expecting company in a minute or so. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut this short right now, y'all. So I'm going to do this in segments of the different parts of the descent. I guess I'll just do this part as reading the myth to you to let you guys know what I'm talking about. The next parts will definitely be the actual insider information that Hekate told me about this. Alright, blessed be y'all. Be right back.